Today I want to give you several tips you can use to help create a calorie deficit you need to be able to lose the fat and finally get where you want to be. And as I get into things, understand some of the stuff you hear may sound a little bit daunting at first, but I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, the thought of doing something is always harder than the actual doing of it itself. And one of the most useful things you can do to create a calorie deficit is to make sure you're tracking your intake. This is by far and away one of the biggest things that gets overcomplicated and seems like it's so much bigger of a deal than it is, but it's so helpful because it helps create some accountability. It helps you understand how much food you're eating, if you're being consistent, and as you hit plateaus, you now know how to make adjustments because you know how much you're eating, whereas with other types of diets with a name, you may be eating certain kinds of foods, and if you have no clue how much you're eating, that's a difficult thing to do. But here's the thing with tracking, I don't want you getting so caught up in the daily numbers. Let's just say, for instance, you have a daily goal of 2,000 calories. Well, you don't have to eat 2,000 calories right down to the exact calorie every single day forever. You're not going to be able to do that. And it just creates so much extra stress and anxiety and pressure to try to hit these perfect numbers. And if you feel like you screw up anytime you miss it, then you say, well, I've already screwed everything up. What's the point? And then you end up binging, and then you panic about that. You try to make up for it, so you undereat, and that makes you feel even more restricted, so then you overeat, and it just is this nightmare you can't get out of. So instead of having a daily target, have a weekly average target, and even within that, make it a range. So instead of 2,000 calories a day, you're looking to average 2,000 calories a day. So you could go a couple hundred over, 100 under, up and down, try to get that average close, but not to exact 2,000 calories either. Try to give maybe around a 50 calorie range to aim for during the week. The more you can get away from the all or nothing perfectionist mindset, the more likely you are to succeed. Now, as a quick side note, a lot of people track exact macros, and you're welcome to do that if you want. I generally prefer to just look at calories and protein and interchange your carbs and fat however you want. Again, I find it more sustainable. It's more of a flexible approach and gives you more freedom in your food choices, but aim for around 0.8 to 1 grams per pound of weight, or at least a goal weight if you have more weight to lose. Another way to make your calorie deficit easier is taking some strategies to plan out your days and weeks so you have something set in place. This can be creating some repeatable meals that you have most days of the week, especially if you just eat like the same lunch every day. That takes a lot of stress off and you don't have to worry about it. And when you get busy, it's already set, especially if you do some bulk cooking in advance and you do some meal prep and it's just already available for you. It makes it less likely to grab those convenient options that are probably going to be less likely to help you reach your goals. You can pre-plan your days in advance. I find this to be a fantastic strategy. Just the night before, go into your tracker and say, here's what I want to eat for all my different meals, plug it in, see what it looks like. Now you can make adjustments to your intake until the numbers get lined up. Now you've got that plan set in place, and a little bit of time up front actually ends up saving you more time in the long run. And if you're just trying to wing it every day and it's not happening, the planning will help tremendously. Another thing I recommend is to not get caught up in feeling like you have to eat during certain times of the day. Eat to your normal hunger signals. Most of us have a tendency to be more or less hungry during certain times of day. So if you find yourself never hungry in the morning, but you eat a big meal in the morning because everyone says it's the most important meal of the day, now you've ate all that food, but you're still going to be hungry later on the day, and it makes it so much harder to stick to things when you're freaking starving and you're at the end of the day with almost no calories left. Or if you're more hungry in the morning, but never hungry at night, have a big meal right away when you wake up. Eat less during times when you're not normally hungry. Eat more during times when you are more hungry, but work with your body instead of against it. Also, don't forget to allow yourself some treats. I mean, yes, for sure, eating clean is definitely helpful. You want to eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods, whole foods, foods that are minimally processed. These are going to fuel the body well. They're going to help fill you up. They're great. But if you ban all your favorite foods and don't allow anything you like, you're just going to eventually snap, and you're going to end up in a position where you feel like you've screwed everything up. Well, I've already ruined my diet, so I need to eat as much as I possibly can now. And the banning of your favorite foods is exactly what makes you crave them even more and makes you fall into this binge restrict cycle that's just a disaster. So learn to include foods you enjoy in moderation, even as much as just having a little bit of something you like every single day can take that edge away, because it's like you don't crave foods that you can have whenever you want. Just don't get caught up in the clean versus dirty foods. It's not going to end well. So yeah, sustainability matters, but even regardless of how sustainable of a plan you create, you're going to make some mistakes along the way. It's going to happen. You're going to have some effort moments. You're going to have vacations where you honestly should live your life more and just enjoy it, but you don't want to beat yourself up. Stop doing this. It is not going to help anything. Most of the time, it just snowballs into something much bigger. So had your fun, or you made a mistake, whatever, okay, fine, done. Don't look back to beat yourself up. You can look back to go, okay, like what kind of changes can I make? How can I learn from this and get better from it? So be kind to yourself. Treat yourself the way you would treat another person if they made the same mistakes and asked you what you thought they should do. Do that for yourself. And possibly the most important part for lasting success and staying in a calorie deficit is you have to detach your emotions from the results. Pretty much every struggle you've ever had with this process comes because you get too attached to the result. You get too frustrated when things aren't working the way you want them to, and you feel like it's not worth the effort and you blow it up only to come back later. The more attached you get to the result, the more you're going to be in a bad mental state, makes it that much harder to stick to the plan. You have to get away from that. Focus more on the process itself. Understand that sometimes it's going to go well, many times it's not. But the more you act based on emotion instead of the habits that you've created, the less likely you are to succeed. So get out of your own head. Don't worry about how long it's going to take. This is something you have to do for the rest of your life. So slow down and everything will change. Now, with all that being said, you're going to hit plateaus along the way. But what should you do when you hit the plateau to start getting the weight going again? Well, to find out the answer to that, make sure you check out this top video next. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.